Hello everyone, welcome to Pre-Algebra with Professor V. So today we're going to go ahead and be looking at some long division. Now if you haven't seen the other video in just regular division, right, and you're struggling with this, maybe if you go back and check this out, it'll give you some help, right? Um, so with long division, we do have this algorithm, right? I remember it as something silly, or it's called an acronym, isn't it? Dirty mice smell bad. There's probably cuter ones out there, but I don't know. This one's the one that stuck for me, so I'm stuck with it. Now, each letter corresponds to something, right? The D here is going to actually stand for divide. And then, oh, sorry, my antivirus is popping up. Now, Windows security, so sorry about that. Next, we're going to work with multiply, right? So the S in smell is for subtract. And then finally, B is for bring down. So, dirty mice probably do smell bad, but that's how I remember it, right? The D is for divide, the M is for multiply, the S is for subtract, and the B is for bring down. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into something, right? Let's try something a little bit more simpler before we get complex. I might even have to make another video based off of remainders and stuff. But anyway, so this, maybe maybe from the last video, right? You know that this is 22, maybe. 2 times 22 is 44, so your answer would be 44. So maybe you know that. But let's say that we don't, right? Even me. So I would have to rewrite this as 2 into 44. And now it's tricky business because everything else we've done so far goes right to left. When we're doing long division, it actually goes left to right. So this is why long division gets a little bit trickier. First, there's all these steps, right? Second, we're going the opposite way than we've been going the whole time. So be very careful, be gentle with yourself, and take it slow. So the first D here is for divide. So what we want to do is take this 2 and divide it into something. Well, if we're going left to right, we should always check this first number here. So how many 2's divide into 4, right? And if I think about that, what I'm really saying, right, is 2 times what equals 4. So we can break this into parts, right? Well, this is going to be 2. So if you follow the last video, right, the logic this will still be the answer. So your answer is on top of the box, right? So 2 times 2. So now that we've divided, right, 2 fits into 4 if I divide that twice, right? So 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2, right? That's where this 2 is coming from. I realize I probably shouldn't have picked something with the same numbers. Bear with me. So multiply, right? So next, now that we put this number on top of the box, we multiply. So we take this number and we're going to multiply it by this number. So our partial quotient here will get times by the divisor, right? So 2 times 2 is 4. So after we multiply the top number by the divisor, we subtract. Now, just pretend this doesn't exist for now, okay? We're not going to handle that yet. that's where people start getting overwhelmed, right? They're like, what about these extra numbers? Don't worry about that right now. What we do have is 4 minus 4, right? This is what's in this lane. Well, that happens to be 0. So I just subtracted. Now I got to bring something down. Well, this also gets confusing for a lot of people. What am I bringing down? Well, I'm trying to divide 2 by 44, right? I already handled this 4. The only thing that's left is this other, the second 4, right? The 4 in the 1's position here. So I bring that down. And since I bring something down, I have to go back into the top. So this is what makes it kind of like an algorithm, right? It's a bunch of steps until I actually can't do anything. And the way you know that you're done with division is there's nothing to bring down. So since I brought something down, I gotta restart. So how many 2's fit into 4, right? Because that's the number that I brought down. And you see why this starts getting a little confusing, right? There's a lot of components moving around, but I'll try to be quiet and we'll practice some more. So how many 2's fit into 4? Well, it's still 2, right? Still 2. So now that we've divided, we can multiply. Now, this is the number that we placed on top, right? We're working with pieces here, so it becomes this 2 times 2. Not the whole 22 times 2, just this one that we placed on top of the box. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we go ahead and subtract. We get 0. There's nothing to bring down, so we are finished. Happy face. Well, it doesn't look very happy, does it? But anyway. Alright, let's try something else. Let me see. What can we do? Oh, dude, good grief. Let's try 3 into something like... I don't want to do bigger numbers. Maybe something like 96. Okay, so how many 3's can fit into 96, right? Let's take it piece by piece. Maybe, like I said earlier, maybe you know that 3 times something equals 96. Maybe you're just a human calculator, right? But I particularly am not, so I will have to start with the 3 and the 9 here, left to right, remember? So what I could ask myself is 3 times what equals 9. Now that's something I could do. I believe that's 3, right? So my answer would be 3. And basically, if you think about it, we are chunking it, right? We are saying 9 divided by 3 in this instance, right? And that does equal 3. And that's why the answer up here is 3, right? We're literally dividing that one piece. Now we multiply this 3, this quotient that we found, right? And we multiply it by the divisor, and we end up getting 9. And now we subtract these two numbers. So again, we're going to pretend 6 doesn't exist. And we just worry about the 9 minus 9, which is 0. Now, what I could do, right? Well, what I have to do is bring the next number down. So we've handled the 9. The 9's done. What's left is the 6, right? Because we are dividing by 96, right? So we're going to bring this down. And now I got to divide again. But be careful, right? It's 3 dividing 6. Or 6 dividing 3, sorry. I'm saying that backwards, aren't I? Which also could be 3 times something equals 6. Well, that ends up being 2, right? So our answer here is 2. And that's why the 2 is going to go up here. Now that we've placed this 2 in, we can do 2 times 3, right? 2 times 3. And that's going to equal 6. Well, what's 6 minus 6? 0, right? Okay, so we might have time for one more. I think I'm about at 10 minutes, but let's go ahead and try it. Let me make my eraser a little bit bigger. Okay, so bear with me while I give myself a little room, right? These do take some room. And let me go ahead and make my pencil back to the right size. Okay. So, I guess let's try one that's a little trickier. I want to use 3 again. Sorry. But I know that this fits evenly because I know some tricks. Since 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6, right? 6 divides by 3. So I know 123 divides by 3. But anyway, probably have to make a video on that. So here's what I wanted to show you, right? So we still have to go left to right. But what happens when 3 doesn't divide by 1, right? What if, what if I can't fit it in, right? What if, it doesn't work out? Because basically what I'm looking at now is 3 times blank equals 1. Well, when I'm doing whole numbers, I don't know of any number that can make 3, right, turn into 1. So what I do is I look to the next number and I actually try to fit 3 into 12. Now, if I think of it, 3 times a number equals 12. Well, that makes sense, right? That totally makes sense. That's going to be 4, right? 4, 8, 12. So if I could fit it into the 4, well, I mean, if I can't fit it into the first number, sorry. I keep going until I can fit it in. So 3 does fit into 12, right? And it fits in 4 times. And notice where I place the 4. I place it above the 2, right? Because that states that 12 divided by 3 is equal to 4. Now, if I were to be silly, and kind of put this 4 over here on top of the 1, well, what I'm telling people, right? Telling people that 1 dividing 3 is equal to 4. And that's not so, right? That's 0.33, which we're not even going to get into fractions yet. So you have to be very careful where you place that 4, okay? So it does have to go on the 12 because 12 divided 3 equals 4, all right? So now we multiply, right? 4 times 3, that's going to equal 12. And the reason why I place that 12 here is because this 3 doesn't exist in my mind, right? This is the tens, this is the ones right now, even though it's the hundreds. But right now in this particular problem, right, I'm going to pretend that's a 10, Or if you want, right, I'm lining it up with the hundreds, but I don't want to make things too complicated. So anyways, 4 times 3 is 12, right? It's technically, it is a hundreds, It's improper for me to say it's a tens, but if that doesn't exist, right? But anyway. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0, right? You could have 2 zeros if you want. It doesn't matter. So now that I've subtracted, I can bring the next number down. There's still a 3 to deal with, right? And now I have 3 dividing by 3, right? Which is the same as saying 3 times a blank equals 3. Well, it's only going to be 1, right? So the 1 goes up here. 1 times 3 is 3. And then that'll end up being 0. So, long division is a little complicated. But definitely be patient with yourself. Take the time. Practice, 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 right? this is where a calculator can come into handy, right? Because if you get 41, well, when you punch 123 dividing by 3 into a calculator, you better get 41, right? You better get the answer that you found in your long division. Now, don't use the calculator to cheat, right? It's a tool, right? It's meant to help you, right? So these are the things that, can be helpful when we're practicing hard stuff. There's going to be another video and we're going to incorporate what's called the remainder because, sometimes you have extra pieces and, if you're trying to give your friend all one candy, you end up with that one extra candy, right? That you can't give to anybody because then you have to break the candy into pieces, right? So that way no one's upset, right? You gave Sally more than Jan or whatever. But okay guys, so I hope you got some value out of this video. Like and subscribe if you can. Leave me a comment down below asking for more help, more guidance, if it's on this subject or another. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.